Welcome to Your Career Podcast. If you're looking for inspiration in your career or job search, you're at the right place. I'm Jane Jackson, your career management coach and author of Navigating Career Crossroads. For more career advice and support, go to janejacksoncoach.com and find all you need to create the career of your dreams. Welcome to episode 263 of Your Career Podcast. I recently returned to my childhood home, which is Hong Kong. And during my visit, I reunited with some dear friends, dear old friends I've known since my high school days at the Peking Garden Restaurant in Alexandra House in Central. And one of their specialty dishes is Beggars Chicken. And this dish involves cracking open a thick pastry shell with a golden hammer to reveal the treasure, the delicious chicken within. Today's episode, I'm focusing on how this beggar's chicken is actually the perfect metaphor for the challenges we face when looking for a job. So, fresh back from my holiday in Hong Kong, I thought that I would share this story because I was so inspired by some of the things that happened to me while I was back in Hong Kong, which is where I grew up. I absolutely love Hong Kong. My mother is Hong Kong Chinese. My father is English. He used to work at Hong Kong University, and I grew up in the university compound. And there are so many just wonderful childhood memories that I have of Hong Kong, my home. And every time I go back on a holiday or a short break, it always gives me, just goosebumps, because I have wonderful, wonderful memories of a fantastic childhood there, right through until my early 20s when I left. And I haven't lived in Hong Kong, for about 40 years now. So that's a long time. But what I want to talk about today is breaking through the barriers that we all put around ourselves. And so I'm going to call this Breaking Through the Shell, what Beggars Chicken taught me about career transitions. Now, what on earth does Beggars Chicken have to do with career transitions? So, it's the perfect metaphor for the challenges we face when looking for a job. So let me tell you this story. So the last time I was back in Hong Kong was before the COVID pandemic, and I was there in 2019. So it had been 5 years since I'd been back, and the trip held deep meaning for me as I went to commemorate what would have been my mother's 100th birthday and to sweep the graves of my parents while I was there. It's something that is Chinese tradition, sweeping the graves. It's very important. And after 5 years, I really felt like I have to go back and do this. My father passed away having only lived for 49 years when I was only 11 years old. My mother was a widow for 35 years before she passed away at 81. So going and paying my respects to my parents who are buried in Hong Kong is very important to me. And during my visit, now this is where this thing happened that made me think about what was such an incredible metaphor for career transition. And that was when I went to the Peking Garden Restaurant. It's in Alexandra House in Central, if you know the area. And they have a wonderful dish, Beggars Chicken. And the Beggars Chicken is encrusted with a thick pastry shell. And if you go to my website at janejacksoncoach.com, you will find my blog post, which actually has the photos of the chicken, which is beautiful. The pastry is very, very thick, and they made it look like a chicken. The pastry was shaped like a chicken, and when they brought it out, they actually set it alight, because traditionally, Beggar's Chicken is supposed to be put into a big fire, and it very slowly cooks the chicken, but through the thick pastry. You have chicken and herbs wrapped in lotus leaves and then wrapped again in a lot of thick pastry. And the pastry protects the chicken so it doesn't overcook. So This chicken was set alight. There's a beautiful photo of it in my blog post on janejacksoncoach.com. And I've also got a video of me actually cracking open the chicken. You might be interested to see. But okay, so let me just tell you the story. So as I performed the ritual of cracking open the chicken, and the restaurant waiters gave me a big golden hammer to do it and took photos, and it was really quite a spectacle. And they also gave me a little golden hammer to take away as a souvenir, which was lovely. But as I performed this ritual, I realized how the experience mirrors our own career transitions. Okay, now in order to enjoy the tender, flavorful meat inside Beggars Chicken, you must break through the hard shell first. And much like that chicken, we, as human beings, we all build protective layers: fear, doubt, anxiety, especially during challenging life events. And so if you want to see, me holding a golden hammer, cracking open the Beggars Chicken, go to my website, look for the blog, and you'll find it. You'll notice that while I was whacking away at the chicken, the waiter said, "No, enough," because I wanted to keep going. But then I was told that 2 whacks was more than enough, which just goes to show how fragile even the toughest shells can be. Okay? So here are 3 lessons I learned from this experience and how they can actually apply to anyone navigating a career transition. First lesson is breaking through the facade of fear and doubt. Much like the thick pastry of Beggars Chicken, we often create protective barriers when we face the unknown. We get that fear of failure, self-doubt, anxiety about the future, and it can feel like impenetrable shells that hold us back from reaching our full potential. So many of us have got self-limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome, and oh my goodness, you name it. There's a lot of self-doubt going on with so many of us, including me. But I remember my own career transition at the age of 41, moving from Singapore to Sydney amidst a divorce with teenage children in tow. And it was a time of profound uncertainty for me. And the barriers I had built, both emotional and mental, for me seemed impossible to crack. And the fear of stepping into a new chapter of my life was overwhelming. And, so many of us fear change. I actually embraced change, but I was scared. I really didn't know what the future was going to hold. But just like cracking open the shell of the Beggar's Chicken, the first step I found is always the hardest. Once you break through those layers of fear and self-doubt, that's where you find your potential. Like the tender chicken inside the Beggar's Chicken, the potential has always been there, just waiting to be revealed. So what was the lesson learned? When it comes to career transitions, don't let fear and doubt be the shell that keeps you from reaching your goals. Start with small steps and trust that your potential is there, ready to shine once you break through. Okay. Now, the second lesson was, or is, revealing hidden strengths in unsettling times. So that protected pastry of the Beggar's Chicken serves a purpose, doesn't it? It keeps the chicken moist and flavorful during the cooking process. Similarly, our own layers of protection during difficult times serves to help us cope, but they can also keep us from showing our true selves. Wouldn't you agree? During my own transition, I had to embrace a period of reinvention. Moving countries, raising teenage children, rebuilding a career all at once felt like a monumental task. But in doing so, I actually discovered strengths that I didn't even know I had. Oh my goodness, the resilience that I'd developed. But I had created a facade. That facade I'd created, which was meant to protect myself and my children, was keeping me from uncovering the resilience and courage that were hidden beneath. So what was the lesson in that? The lesson was career transitions are an opportunity to peel back those layers and discover the hidden strengths and talents you possess. It's in the process of breaking through those protective barriers that, honestly, your true capabilities emerge. The little bit like Superman, taking, just breaking through his corporate outfit to turn into Superman in a way. I don't know. I can imagine all sorts of things. But here's a third lesson that I learned through this, is that transformation takes courage, but the rewards are worth it. Because as I cracked the pastry open at the Peking Garden, the waiter told me 2 whacks of that golden hammer were enough to reveal the chicken. And that made me reflect how sometimes what seems like a daunting task may be easier than expected once you begin. Even the toughest shells can be surprisingly fragile with the right tools and the mindset. Makes you think, doesn't it? And similarly, making a career transition takes courage. So you need to develop the right tools and the right mindset. This is what I help people do through my career coaching all the time. Now, for you, whether you're switching industries, looking for a new job, or simply seeking growth within your current role, the path can be uncertain and full of obstacles. But with each small effort, each whack at the shell gets you closer to uncovering the riches of the next chapter in your life and career. So what's the lesson learned? Transformation requires action and persistence. And with each step you take toward your goals, the barriers that once seemed insurmountable begin to fall away, don't they? Sounds wonderful. So don't be afraid to take that first step. It may be easier than you think. So what are my final thoughts on this? What I'm wondering is, what's holding you back from achieving your potential, from doing what you want, from creating the life that you know that you deserve? As I look back on my own career journey, I realize that often we protect ourselves from the unknown. We build barriers to keep ourselves safe, don't we? But in doing so, we can also hold ourselves back from achieving what we want. So career transitions are not easy, but they certainly are worth the effort. And, they enable you to build a portfolio career. They enable you to bounce back from redundancy. If you're in between jobs and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Just think about the things that might be holding you back. What are you doing to protect yourself? That may be the reason why you're not reaching your potential. So breaking through those protective layers can lead to personal and professional growth and reveal that potential in you that has been there all along. So I'm going to leave you now with this question. And please feel free to drop me an email or send me a message on LinkedIn to add your experiences as well, because I'd love to know what they are. And in fact, in a future podcast, I can share what your experiences have been. So do send them through to me via email at janejacksoncoach.com or jane@janejacksoncoach.com, or find me on LinkedIn and send me a message and let me know that you've listened to episode 263 of Your Career Podcast with Jane Jackson, and tell me what you've learned. So what are the protective layers that are holding you back from discovering your hidden potential? Okay, and if you ever go to Hong Kong or you go to a lovely Chinese restaurant that offers Beggars Chicken, it is such an experience. I highly recommend that you give it a go and uncover, through that lovely pastry. You go through the pastry, you don't eat the pastry, but you open up the chicken wrapped in the lotus leaves, and it's tender, succulent chicken steaming inside. So have that next time you go to a Chinese restaurant. And until next time, believe in yourself and create your own type of magic. Bye now. Thanks for joining me today. For affordable career help, please check out my Career Success Program. I provide a unique blend of online and live career coaching to help you take control of every aspect of your career or career change. If you aren't where you want to be in your career, let's talk. Check it out at thecareersacademy.online. The links are in my show notes.